Hi everyone, it's me. I'm back with video number 3, and I wanted to say before I get into it, please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed as yet, and click the notification bell so you can be notified when I post new videos. So I thought about it for a while, and I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? So I'm just going to talk about random stuff that I think comes to mind. So in the previous videos, I wanted to say thank you for all of you who watched the previous sculpting videos. So when I was thinking about not sculpting anymore for the doll community, I thought of all the things that got to me about the doll community. But before I get into that, I wanted to say that only one person that I saw in the comments at this time made mention of the doll's name from the last video. I showed the name in the first video and asked in the second video if there's anyone that knew her name, and one person was able to answer, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so I was thinking about all the things in the doll community that got to me, and one of the things that contributed to my thoughts about the community are the communications I get from people in the community, the emails, the messages, and stuff like that. You know, sometimes you focus on that thinking it's a reflection of the community, and I get a lot of crazy emails. I mean, I have gotten emails, where collectors ask for, of course, the free dolls, or if I just put up a video or a doll that's awake, they're gonna write to me and tell me I prefer sleeping babies, and if I put up an awake baby, then I'm gonna hear, oh, but I prefer if you make sleeping babies. And if I put up a video, then I get to email, if I make a fat baby, they want a thin baby. If I make a 3-month-old baby, then they want a preemie. But it's funny to me that no matter what I do, there's always someone that comes along and says they want something different. But I even had one person that would contact me, and she would ask me to make this type of doll, that type of doll. And I asked her, why are you asking me to make these dolls? Do you know that I don't do custom dolls? And she said, that's okay. I can't buy them anyway. I just want to see them. So there's a whole lot of crazy in the community. But there's a lot of good in the community also. And we tend to focus on the bad, and we hear a lot about it. But I often hear that we get what we focus on. And it's true. If we get something that's new to us, like let's say I got a new red car, then when I go out, I start seeing other cars like my car. And if we never got a red car, we wouldn't have seen them. But it was not that significant before to get our attention. But when we come into the doll community, some people think it's pure because we collect baby dolls. What could be more pure than baby dolls? But babies are pure, but not the adults that have them. And when we come to that realization, we get a surprise and disillusion about the community. But it's not this community only, it's everywhere. When I was in nursing school and we started going to clinicals at the hospital, Our teacher told us, I know you that nurses do noble work, but you can't just leave your things around when you're in the hospital because nurses steal too. And I laughed. Most nurses don't steal, but in her experience, she knew of nurses that had stolen, and stolen from the students that came there to learn. So she didn't want us to focus on the negative experience, but she wanted us just to be aware so we wouldn't leave our things around. And that's good to feel a way about a negative experience and work your way through it. The emotions that you have, and you work through it, and then you move on. When I add up all the experience I've had in the community, they're mostly good experiences. The good experiences exceedingly outweigh the bad experiences. The bad experiences are just a small part. And of course, we have to do what we need to do to protect ourselves. And it's an ever-evolving process. It never ends, because as soon as we figure out what to do to deter the negative behavior, then there comes along someone who tries something new. But we hear about it, and hopefully we can protect ourselves. I've heard artists say that they say it openly in the forums. They'll never sell to this type of person because they are potentially going to have something bad happen. But I think it's wrong to write off a whole group because of a bad experience with one of them. If you're trying to find a formula to be completely safe, it doesn't exist. And you hurt innocent people by grouping all the people together and writing them all off. It is crazy to think, well, I sold a doll to a person with a big nose, so she stole from me with a chargeback, so I can't send to anyone with a big nose. It just doesn't work like that. Just like in real life, you have good and bad in all types of people. And, sometimes it comes our way, and sometimes we see it before it happens, and sometimes we see it in retrospect. I'm just saying this because if I focused only on the negative experiences, then I wouldn't see the good. Someone said to me, if the doll wasn't good enough, they wouldn't want to copy it. As if that was a compliment. So what do? Hold back on my sculpting? Well, that's not a good thing. I don't care. We shouldn't be rewarding evil for good, but that doesn't help. But I think when I took a break, it gave me a chance to heal and refocus about the hobby. I made a doll, or a couple of dolls. I had fun dressing them, and then I thought, we can't just I can't just hide my light under a basket. What's the point? So I'm saying, I don't think we should focus as much on the dark side of things. We should enjoy all beautiful things that we came here for. Good things are the majority of my experience. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but before I started making dolls, when I first saw the dolls that impressed me and I fell in love with them, I felt I wanted to make them. I started looking at the dolls back then, and I couldn't afford them. I was very young. Now, if I just focused on the fact that I couldn't afford them, I would probably have dismissed it and never, got into making dolls. But I used to go to the doll shops. We had doll shops back then. We don't have any more now. Then they had beautiful dolls on display, and I kind of stumbled across it. At first, when I rode my bike to 7-Eleven to buy some snacks, And my mother's birthday was coming up, so I decided to go into the flower shop. And when I went in there, inside they had so many dolls. I distinctly remember Lee Middleton dolls and Annette Hempstead dolls. They had the Barefoot Children, that collection there. And I would just look at them and dream. It was like, it was crazy that I had just walked in and stumbled on this. It was like I went to a doll show. They had price tags and everything. And I thought, I would have to make my own dolls, because I can't afford to buy these dolls. But I never focused on that part. Like I said, I rode my bike to 7-Eleven. I was still in high school. I didn't even have a car yet. So, everything seemed unattainable to me. And in retrospect, I realized that I wanted to make dolls as much as I wanted to collect them back then. Back then, I drew a lot of portraits, and I wanted to make portrait dolls. I enjoyed everything about the dolls. I thought about learning to make them. My view of the world changed after walking into that store. So I think from now on, I'm going to make those type of dolls. My sister had introduced me to making soft sculpture dolls, and she sold them at her office. She worked at a lawyer's office, and we would get orders, and we would make the dolls for her clients. We'd make the custom dolls, and I thought I'd much prefer to make these kinds of dolls at the doll shop. And I think that is where the seed was planted, and it grew. But I didn't look at it as a negative that I couldn't afford the dolls. I thought of all the possibilities. Now I'm here all these years later making dolls, and it gives me peace. The same peace that I had. It gives me a little happiness in my life, just like it did back at the beginning. But mostly my experience making dolls, the other outcome is that I have way too many dolls. For many years I've been saying I'm going to put some of my doll collection up for sale, because I have no more space. It's a predicament. I have all these dolls because I can, but it's getting to the point now where I can't enjoy them. So eventually I'll put some of them up for sale. I'm going to keep the ones that are very special to me, but sometimes I think all of them are special. And anyway, especially after the end of 2019, when I had this really bad flu, and it lingered and lingered, and I separated myself from people. And shortly after that, we learned about this new way of living. And I realized nobody is safe. You could be here today and gone tomorrow. I've seen it happen to many friends and family, and even people in our doll community. Losing one is too much, but we have lost so much. And here I am with all these dolls, and I'm wondering, what am I going to do with them? Because if something happened to me, my family wouldn't know what to do with them. So I've been thinking more about getting rid of them lately. But, I'm like a lot of collectors. I always want another doll. And, that's the part that I like to think about. The happy part where we get to enjoy all these dolls and we get all these good experiences. Collectors love the dolls that we make. And that's good, because if we can make them, we can make more and more. Because my thing is, I used to make dolls and sell dolls just so I could buy more clay in the beginning. So, it's good that collectors wanted the dolls, because then I could get more clay. Now, let's refocus on this situation with this doll. I saw only one viewer. Her name was Sharon R. She made a comment and was able to tell me the name of the baby. I showed the name in the first video, and she was the only one that told me what the name was. Congratulations to Sharon R. You are very observant. Now, the name of this little baby, when I sculpted her, it was during the time when it was raining. And every late afternoon into the night, when I was sculpting, it was raining all night. And I realized the rain was something we see as a blessing or a curse. When we have really dry weather, the rain is a blessing. And when we have too much, the rain is a curse. I thought about the fact that it rains on the just and the unjust, and some people know what I'm talking about when I say that. It does rain on the just and the unjust. And over the years, the majority of my dolls have gone to collectors who are true collectors that love my dolls and want them as a part of their collection. And rain reflects how I feel about this baby. To me, rain is a blessing, and I hope she will be a blessing to all the collectors that would love to receive her. I really love this little girl, and I was in the process of making the editions. As you see, I have 2 editions, Rain Awake and Rain Asleep, similar to how I did Gabbardale, but in this edition, there'll be 2 separate editions, no kits, no customs. And I gave my husband the dolls in November. I think I told him to go ahead and make the molds, and I started painting later in December, and I started getting the accessories together. And I'll have another video soon telling you more about how I'm going to make them available to you. So tune in for the next video. This is the last of the sculpting videos, but I will come back again and give you more information. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.